This Learning Leaders series is created to help retailers implement an efficient training program. In this video, I will be talking about the strategies to improve retention, how to optimize the formation of memory. I would like to start by sharing how and for what length of time we retain information and what rate we forget. To illustrate the concept, I would like to reference a very meaningful study regarding memory, carried out by a German psychologist, Hermann Ebbinghaus, in the late 1800s. As a consequence of his findings, today we have the forgetting curve, which shows over time we all have memory loss. Let's look at a graphic that illustrates the rate at which we lose what we have learned. It is natural to forget what you learn, but Ebbinghaus discovered that the nature of forgetting is exponential. The forgetting curve portrays what happened to a student after a lecture or an online course with no practice. Ebbinghaus discovered that immediately after a student learns something, they have 100% recall. However, after 19 minutes, on average, the normal person would retain 60% of what they have learned. Therefore, we basically lose half of what we learn within the first hour. By the end of the day, on average, we retain 33% of what we learn. And after a month, we retain 21% of what we learn. Despite having a few flaws, Ebbinghaus' findings have been widely accepted, and it is a classic in the field. If you are training your associates, it is very important to consider the concept illustrated by the forgetting curve. Since low retention is highly correlated with low transfers of skills to the job, it results in low performance. In the workplace, we need to retain knowledge long enough to apply it. We will be addressing two retention strategies that will be very valuable when you are implementing your training because they optimize the formation of memory. The strategies are: 1. Repeated retrieval. 2. Spacing. Let's start with the first strategy, repeated retrieval. As the name implies, it is the practice of systematically retrieving information from your memory. I'm referring to actions like situations and events that have the capacity to activate acquired memory, such as answering test questions, putting ideas into practice in the workplace, explaining or teaching the topic to others. If the information learned is used or retrieved often, it will be moved from the short-term memory to the long-term memory. Items stored in the short-term memory will be quickly lost. Forgetting has a purpose. It's how our brain avoids the information overload. The retrieval practice is not a panacea. Other strategies also are helpful. Please watch the videos on the series. However, to retrieve can produce remarkably strong learning with lasting retention. People often ask me, how many times should I practice retrieving? The truth is, the answer to this question is unknown. It varies depending on the content and the individual. However, we should retrieve 4 to 7 times. Try it. It works. Research shows that repeated testing is superior to repeated studying in the formation of long-term memory. Here are some examples of retrieval practices. All our online courses have tests for your use. Retest utilizing the retrieval library. This library is available for additional testing, which students can utilize. Ask questions regarding the use of the knowledge and skills recently learned. For example, how would you apply what you learned in the customer service online course? Have them pretend they are teaching the online course to someone else. Ask reflection questions. How is this different from what we do? What do we need to change? Create prompting mechanisms, such as a signage in the break room or a newsletter. Reward practices and behaviors that demonstrate what they have learned. Implement reviews, weekly or monthly, to ensure that the relevant training stays in the forefront of their minds. Let's talk about the second strategy, spacing. Looking at the forgetting curve again, and with the help of the learning sciences and neurosciences, discover how we can combat forgetting and optimize the formation of memory. It is key to remember that in the first 24 hours there's a big loss, as seen in the graphic curve, because it's fairly steep. The closer in time the content is delivered, the easier it is to retrieve. The first day is crucial. The ideal retrieval intervals are multiple retrievals within the first 3 days, and then again during the following week, and finally a month after the content was delivered. You should practice retrieval more often for difficult materials. Practicing retrieval for a long period of time, for example, throughout a month instead of a week, tells your brain that the knowledge is needed in the long term. When planning your employee development program, consider that there is a huge benefit in not delivering the content all at once. People need time to do multiple retrieval for a stronger long-term memory. Spacing works both ways, in the delivery and in the retrieval of content. Learning in the workplace has a different purpose than the cramming strategy most of us practice in our school days. As illustrated, after taking a course or a lesson, it is crucial to plan for a retrieval process, creating a continuous learning environment and weaving learning into the workplace. To forget is part of life. However, we need to embrace this fact and create processes to improve retention. Other factors also play a role in retention, such as stress level, prior knowledge, time, sleep, relevance, difficulty, training modality and format. Check out the other videos on the Learning Leader series. Thank you.